What's up? In this episode of the Churchy Shed, we are going to weld the rear end of the coupe. So we'll show you how to do a Lincoln locker in the rear end. This happens to be a GM 10 bolt, a G-bomb, G-lock. So it's got the limited slip mechanism on the inside. And then of course, since we're doing that, we'll clean it all out and I'll put a new upgraded diff cover with carrier bolt reinforcements on it, and it's thicker because we'll be off-road, so we might hit rocks and whatnot, and we'll refill it with fluid. Here's the tools I needed to use for this project. I had a Lincoln Handycore welder and a Milwaukee angle grinder. Both you can get on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description to all of this stuff. So first thing you need to do is take the bolts out of your differential cover, because you got to take the differential cover off. This is a GM 10 bolt, like I said. It's not a closed differential. Use a screwdriver to pop the differential cover off, and it will jizz everywhere. And this is some stinky jizz. The older it is, the worse it smells. Clean it really well. I went through 4 cans of this stuff. Here's the inner workings of the GM 10 bolt G-lock system, aka the G-bomb. Those little things right there flip out if one tire spins faster than the other, and it locks the left side to the right side. That flips out if you get going over 20 miles an hour, and it unlocks the whole thing so that you can't go down the highway with it locked in. Well, we're going to fix all that. Heating it up so that it takes to the welds better, so that the welds can penetrate deeper. Because there's nothing like penetrating deeper. Now I picked little spots to weld the gears to the backing plate of the G-lock mechanism. Typically, if it was an open differential, you'd have to put a little piece of metal in there anyways to keep from welding the actual bearing, but this has already got it in there, so I just used that stupid G-bomb thing to my advantage, and see, I welded it to the backing plate of it. So now none of the gears, none of the spider gears, whatever you want to call them, can move. And I was able to pick up a few welds on the bottom side of this side of the spider gears. Right up in there. There we go. Just pointing out how I got some welds up in there. There'll be some slag. Just clean it out later with more brake clean. As long as you don't get any on the ring and pinion, which is that part right there, that big gear. Now if I turn this tire, watch that tire. Boom. Locked. Same thing. Turn it backwards, same thing. The whole thing moves. See, the whole thing turns. That's what you want. Yes. You just clean the slag out with more brake clean. Aforementioned. I mentioned afore. Alright, we're just going to clean up the face of this. Just a flat disc on the angle grinder. Gets it real nice and shiny and smooth, like Gary Coleman's ass cheeks. While I was down there, I decided to just weld up where the axle housings meet the third member to add more strength. So now I'm just going to switch to the other side of the differential of the spider gears and weld there and there. but I'm going to add these little gussets to bridge that gap and that space. I just held that little gusset in there with a screwdriver and tacked it. Then heated it up real good again so the welds penetrate, and I welded it. And there it is. It looks terrible. Looks like cheese, but it's strong. By the way, I had the welder cranked, the heat cranked all the way up, and the speed of the feed down, like under 3, so that it really burns in there slowly, and you get less slag because it all burns off, which is what I was just cleaning out there. So that's about as clean as you can get it. Again, as long as you don't get it up here in the ring gear, you're fine. Unboxing for all you freaks. The new differential cover. It's aluminum. It's made by Proform. It's thicker, and it has the carriage bolt reinforcements, because that's one point that can break when your differential is under pressure off-roading, are those carrier bolts. So these two things right here, there and there, push against it so that they don't flex and break. And new diff bolts. Like I said while I was at it, you got to put some Pentex liquid gasket maker, and then I just put the gasket over that just to help seal it better. And I didn't make this up. I've gotten this from a million other guys and girls out there doing the same exact thing. Put some on the back of the differential cover as well. And then bolt it in. Michael bolting it in. Here's the trick, is you have to tighten these two bolts that push in on the carriage bolts. And you're only supposed to tighten it to 10 pound feet. So I just hand tightened it as best I could with that Allen wrench. Don't forget to put in your fluid. It takes just 2 quarts of gear oil. That happens to the best of us. Not again. Ooh, 2-timer. And then tighten that plug back up. And you're done. That's it. A Lincoln Locker locked rear end.